I guess my question to you is, when is a right time to buy a home? Is it now? I mean, what do you think?
Honestly, like the best answer, the time to buy, the best time to buy is when you are ready. Like, it's not waiting for like when everything seems perfect, because that's never going to happen. Like, if you are renting and you're paying $1,200, $1,300, like, you can afford a house. You just need to be disciplined, save up a few months or whatnot, and start like making those little steps to get to there. Like, it's not just the interest rate, because you're still paying somebody else's mortgage if you're not doing it yourself, So for me, the best time to buy is when you're ready, like when you decide you want to do it. And if somebody wants to call and say, find out, because you still got to live somewhere. It's not like you're like, oh, I'm just going to hold off because I have, like, you got to go somewhere, And there is like house hacking that some people don't know, that, for example, if you say, like, I can't afford to pay the whole entire mortgage myself. Well, if you have the credit to do it, and then you can get a couple friends or some people to rent with you, like, that's how you start building some of the wealth that a lot of people don't know, And so for me, the reason I got into real estate is because I could see a disproportionate amount of Hispanic people, especially, that like they don't realize that, like, the importance of, creating generational wealth. And it starts by buying a home, and then you can leave that to children and whatnot. And
also, it's a generational thing.
Exactly. And the other thing is, like, you gotta understand that if you do great, like, or you're prudent with your credit and you start building that stuff, it gives you so much power here in the US. It's not like from our countries, like, where you can see that doesn't happen. Like, you have to be able to work a lot harder to do something. And here, no, it's provided to you, but you have to be able to know how to work on your credit and make the right decisions to get there.
Right. And being Hispanic, we've gotten used to, like, I don't come from a family that owns things, and
a lot of us don't.
Yeah. We're just been used to just renting, and that's just been, going home to home. I'm thinking what to say to those people that they're like, I can't, or I don't have the funds for that deposit, or I don't know how to build the credit. How would you help those people, or what would you say?
So I will say, like, and I'll put myself in as an example. I was 25 years old when I bought my first home, and I wasn't even sure if I was going to afford it or anything, but just inquire, because I'm like, I don't want to be like my parents that don't have like a stable home that's always been, and they do have something, but they still got to pay like rental or something. So I didn't want that. And so like what I did to do that, I was like, I inquired, like, how much do I need? What is the minimum, and what do I need to do to get there? It took me about 6 months to kind of like collect and do everything. But the thing is, a lot of people don't know there's a lot of programs out there. If you can't buy or have like a large deposit, you can go and buy outside the city and get USDA as long as you qualify and you got the credit. Again, the credit's very important. But what it does is that you don't have to have that much money. Some people say, oh, 12,000, 10,000, that's a lot to save. No, if you go outside, you use the USDA program. Again, it's rural area. That's a program that helps you so they can populate those rural areas. But it is zero down. And then the other thing is that we can work it on the actual purchase price for the seller to pay a lot of the closing costs. So you might be able to get in for $1,000. You just got to make sure that you have the credit and you have also the work history. And what it helps you is just stay in the same job and like be making steps to go like higher and make sure that you're not like, think of it, if you're doing that investment, that financial decision that you're going to buy a home, think of it as like whenever you go buy something, say, do I need it or do I want it? And start saving that, because we spend so much money on things that really we don't need. Yeah, we don't need. It doesn't matter. It's not going to help us at the end, because a lot of people say, well, what if I can't afford it? It's like, you can always rent it. Like, there is options out there that you're like, well, you'll make the sacrifice to rent part of your home to continue to afford it, because some people say, well, like if I lose my job or do, it's like there's other people that want to live there. You can make it work if you charge $300, $400 like per room or whatever it is. Like it works. It's just some of us lock ourselves in this little like box and don't think outside, you know? And that's how a lot of people do it, you know, like that's how you start. And then once you buy your first home and like you start building equity, like you can get the equity and buy something else and start flipping, doing like, that's how a lot of people like end up making their money. And if you realize millionaires and even billionaires, that's how they started, like with real estate. Like that's how they're making their money, or they have their money involved in that. So
I mean, there is also a conversation about like, well, for me, building credit. My frustration's always been, how can I build credit if I don't have credit? Nobody accepts me. I go and try to get, the minimal card, credit card, and I can't get approved because I don't have credit.
Right.
So my question to you is, not having credit.
How do you start that?
Yeah.
So like, and that's the thing. Like I have people that can connect you to make those financial decisions, and what are the right decisions for you to get there. And one thing that I know that the lenders recommend is for you to go to your bank institution and say, hey, I want to get a card that it's kind of like a credit card, but you're paying and it's like the minimum. And then they start building from there, and then you start building and building more. So I've had clients that they're like, oh, I have great credit. I don't have anything on my credit. And it turns out they don't have any credit at all. Mm-hmm. So it's not just having nothing on your credit and you think it's perfect. It's being able to work on it and see that the financial institutions are looking that you're building towards that to make it look good to them. That you're like, if you got something on credit, that you pay it off like the next month or whatever. Like that's what's going to help you.
Yeah. And I'll be honest with you. Even in this whole beginning process, all these terms, nobody, like my parents didn't teach me, like, what is equity? Me and Britzy were like, what is that?
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah. So like equity is like, let's say your home, and we're not like gonna how much you pay. Let's say it's $100,000. Like, and then once you start paying and the market keeps going up, now you still owe the bank, or that's like the loan that it was $100,000. But if the house starts appreciating in value, let's say it's 120, you have 20,000 in equity. That's like the money that you've built up like towards the home. If you wanted to like get a second mortgage from your home or whatever, like you can get that money as credit from the bank because they know that it's worth more than what you originally pay.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of when you buy a home, you don't lose. Like even.
And I will say, like, it's not that you lose because we don't have a crystal ball that we can say, yes, it's going to go up. It's always going to go up. It's not true. Like, again, I'll say, I'll put myself as an example. When I bought my home, like the market went down. I bought it on the top. It went down. Like I was upside down, and we're like, what are we going to do? Like, I don't want to short sell it. I don't want to have that on my credit. I don't want to have that. So eventually what I did is I started renting it. And then the market, like always, it is usually like 7 to 10 years when it's like goes up and down or whatnot. It did. And we end up selling it for a lot more than what I end up paying. And it was great, but you have to wait. You can't just say, oh, bought it this year and I'm going to sell it next year and I'm going to make 20, 30,000. No, like you want to hold off to at least 5 years for you to make something. But yes, you don't lose because in a way, like you're going to rent somewhere or you're going to do something. You're not going to get that money back. Mm-mm. It's not like you're going to go to your landlord and say, hey, like I paid 3 years. You owe me this much. It's like, no, too bad. Go on, move somewhere else. And at least with the house, you have something there that you will continue and you can pay and you can look at the market and see, like, and ask someone, in this case, your real estate agent, and say, hey, like, where's my house at? What's the value? Like, does it make sense to move or should I rent it? What should I do?
Yeah, I love what you said in the beginning. You said the right time to buy a home is when you're ready. And sometimes real estate agents will pressure, or like just the family pressures you. Why are you renting? You need to go buy. But then there's people that still don't know where they even want to be designated for their future, if they want to move somewhere else. And there's people that are still stuck renting year after year after year. But really, it's true. It's when you're ready and you know your own wants and needs. And for a long time, I myself felt, renting is almost like you're wasting your money, which you are in a way. But also I'm thankful because I still have a roof under,
Right.
So it's not just being wasted, but it's, I guess, both sides. So I don't know.
Yeah, no, it is more like you feel like you're not building anything.
Yeah.
You don't have anything. Like, yes, you have a roof, and it's great to have that. Again, like, we're truly blessed because there's a lot of people right now that are not in that situation.
Yeah.
But what it is like you don't feel like you belong somewhere. There's nothing that you're like putting roots or saying like I'm building this to leave it eventually like
There's
for
no
my
foundation.
kids. Yes, exactly. And the thing is, like, with us Hispanic, and now I speak for my side, my family, what
Yeah.
it is like, I wish my dad would have done that, because a lot of Hispanics go and say, well, I'm going to move to my country. I'm just going to get some money, save up some money, and send it over there so I can build. And they never end up leaving. And then here they're living one place to another, paying somebody else's, mortgage. And so if you do that, where you're renting a lease, make it where it's your space, and so people say, well, I don't have papers, like I can't like buy or whatnot. Like, there's programs out there that can help you. Like, the government doesn't care if you have papers or not. Like, when it comes to buying, what they care is that the financial institutions, that they get their money. So if you're buying it with a tax ID, like, you can still do it. Yes, the interest rate is higher. Yes, your down payment is higher, but you still are building something, that you're making something,
It might not be worth to someone, but there is someone out there that's all they have
exactly
as an option.
Yeah. And again, like, I know I'm highlighting this a lot, that like, go rent or like do the house hacking that I said.
Right.
But it's just, there's options. We do that anyways. Like, a lot of Hispanics, you see a bunch of cars parked outside, is because there's several families there, and they're making it work, because yes, they are getting paid the minimum wage, but they get where they need to do, because housing is really expensive. But if you do that and you're the one that's building that, I've had some clients that are like, I didn't know I could do this, like, it was just mind-boggling that like I could actually do. Like, I went to speak to a church, and I had a lot of families, and I've been able to help them like do that, but they're like, we didn't realize it was possible.
Yeah.
So that's awesome to see and be able to help.
Don't get stuck in the renting mentality.
Yeah.
Like, it's okay if you're there for a season, but work on getting out of that.
Right.